Georgia's youngest learners are feeling the fallout from the federal government shutdown. Head Start programs across the state are running out of funding, some already suspending services, others surviving on emergency loans to stay open. So what does this mean? Well, it means thousands of children could lose access to early education, meals, and care their families depend on. Joining us now is Ellyn Cochran, President and CEO of Quality Care for Children, to talk about how child care providers are coping and what's at stake for working moms and dads. Ellyn, great to be with you. An important conversation today. What are you hearing from parents this week, especially those who are unsure if their kids will have a safe place to go?
Yes, with the federal shutdown, we had 6,500 children in Georgia that were at risk of losing their child care November 1st. And as you said, we did have 5,000 of those that were supported with an emergency loan from the Community Foundation for those in Atlanta. But down in Southeast Georgia, one of our Head Start providers, Action Pact there, serves nearly 600 children who lost care on Monday. And so we are hearing from families who are really needing that care. We're talking about our most vulnerable families here in Georgia that need to find care. And so we've been working with those families. We reached out to our child care providers in the 12 counties impacted by by the shutdown of Action Pact. And we found 37 providers who have reached out to us saying, we have slots, we will be willing to take them if we can find the funds to help those children bridge that care at those centers.
Is there enough space for all the kids in Georgia? I'm thinking I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old currently in daycare. We're both working parents. I can't imagine if they were sent home tomorrow and what we'd have to do. But that's the reality so many are facing right now. So what options are out there for most of these families?
Yeah, well, for the families particularly impacted in Southeast Georgia, there are not enough slots to serve all of them, and we don't have enough funds to give scholarships to everyone. But we are trying to work with those families to connect them to care and raise scholarships for them. There is just not enough supply available due to shortages of teachers and the high cost of childcare, which is important. Quality care costs a lot in the state. And so we are really working to make sure that families are connected to care by referring them to our qualityrated.org site to find childcare that's available in communities. And we at Quality Care for Children are, of course, fundraising to connect them to that care and make sure that families can find care that works for them. This disruption, as you can imagine, as a parent, losing your child care so suddenly, it really takes people away from work, from what they need to do to support their families. And this comes at a time when SNAP benefits are not available. Most of these families impacted in Southeast Georgia are also receiving those federal benefits for food insecurity. And so having this happen at the same time is really detrimental to families and to the children in their care.
Yeah, talk about some of that disruption, what the uncertainty does to the kids themselves who may not truly understand what's going on in D.C.
Yeah, well, families don't get caught up in the politics. Families get caught up in, I need a safe, stable place for my children to be in care. And so, as you can imagine, children and families have strong relationships with their child care providers. And we are called in to provide these emergency child care to new locations, to the disruption to these children to have to leave their quality care and have to look for new locations. That creates, even though these child care providers are incredible by trying to provide these short-term placements, what's best for these kids is to be in that quality, safe, nurturing environment that they've created with their teachers at their current locations.
You put a lot of trust into the people who care for your kids when you leave them for 8 hours a day. If this shutdown drags on, what do you think that this does to long-term trust that families have in Georgia's early learning system?
Look, families need quality childcare so they can work. And so when you become dependent on something for your family, when it is taken away, it is disruptive to the entire family and to our employers, to our communities. And so this is a basic need for our families, which would be a public good. And so one of the things that we know is that there's just no replacement for what kids need in terms of their high quality childcare. It is our job to make sure that families have access to that care, particularly our most vulnerable children.
A lot of ripple effects, no doubt. Ellyn Cochran, thank you so much for your time today.